Salutations, respected viewers. This is George from Ireland. Now, this video is about Trump's lies and the trouble he's got himself into by his outright mendacity. Well, Paul Manafort has been found guilty. Paul Manafort, who was deeply involved in the Trump campaign, a very important political advisor there, and all of a sudden, Trump pretended to scarcely know him. So, yet another flagrant lie from the most prolific liar of all time in American politics, Donald Trump. Trump says that the investigation of Manafort was a witch hunt. Well, that is yet another fallacy, as Manafort has been found guilty. He didn't plead guilty, but despite that, he was found guilty because the evidence was so utterly overwhelming. Found guilty on many counts of evading millions of dollars of taxes for years. Even Trump doesn't dispute that. Says, but so this was 12 years ago. Some of it was 12 years ago. Some of it was much more recent. I mean, it doesn't matter. I know there is a statute of limitations, but patently 12 years ago is not over the statute of limitations. And Trump has the best people. Remember that one? So Manafort's clearly not one of the best people. Manafort's facing a sentence, they say, of up to 80 years. Now, I hold no brief for Manafort, tax evasion, Manafort's policies. I suppose Manafort doesn't really believe in anything. He's been willing to advocate for anyone who was willing to pay him enough of the green stuff. The Pakistani government, despite being an outspoken anti-Muslim at times. So it's proven that Manafort did commit these fairly serious crimes on a grand scale. Not once or twice, but for years, repeatedly. So Trump, he's obviously tried to undermine people's faith in the CIA and the FBI and the National Security Agency and Homeland Security, in the military sometimes, and the judiciary. So what about Trump's sister? I'd like to hear Trump say that she is deeply corrupt as well, if judges are not to be trusted. So if things don't go Trump's way, then these people are untrustworthy. Who's really untrustworthy? It's Trump. It's projection. So what he'll do is try and distract people from his own serial dishonesty by accusing others of being dishonest. That's it. It's counterattack. Accuse others of your own worst vices. And this tactic is astonishingly successful with these moronic, malevolent, and self-deluding Trumpsters. So if Trump hires the best people, why did he pick Michael Cohen then, whom he now considers to be a turncoat? Cohen was a loyal Trump consigliere for years. He now faces 6 years in prison. Would have been much higher, but the guilty pleas have got this down much more than that. So how many years did he get off? He's spilling the beans a lot to avoid a longer sentence. What an idiot Trump was to allow himself to get taped. See the repeated lies. There was no affair with Stormy Daniels or the other one. I think Trump doesn't even deny it now, hasn't actually had the balls to fess up. That there were no payments to her, which again is proven to be an outright lie. That Cohen paid her himself, which again is bull. That Donald David Dennison wasn't Trump. Well, it is an alias for Trump. We know that now. So yet another provable lie. That Cohen was not reimbursed by Trump, which again is a falsehood. This was nothing to do with the election. Well, it was electoral, so they're caught lying time and time again. Why would anyone believe Trump over other people? Trump has got such a track record of lying about crucial matters time and time again. These are not grey areas, not exaggerations, decontextualizations. These are flagrant lies. It's pants on fire level. There was some political fact-checking organization. They gave Obama a 25% dishonesty rating and Trump a 75% dishonesty rating. Ideally, politicians would be 0%. In an ideal world, we'd all be 0%. Bit unrealistic. And this is what the Trumpsters do. Oh, everybody lies. Well, yes, that's true. But some people lie more prolifically than others. Some people lie more in more of an outright fashion than others. Some people tell lies which are close to the truth. But no, not Trump. So such chutzpah to accuse others of mendacity when he's so mendacious. So these are brazen lies time and time again. See how fork-tongued Trump is. Sarah Huckabee Sanders, a Christian fundamentalist, gets up there and lies for him time again. He won't answer questions about whether he really did have an affair with Stephanie Clifford. Says that the president has addressed it multiple times. Well, no, he hasn't. And Trump was there on tape saying he didn't know anything about the payment to her. and that he didn't reimburse her, and why Cohen did that, has no idea. These are all outright stinking, screaming lies. And then Giuliani. Remember, Giuliani was America's mayor. Remember how exalted he was after 9/11? And he's coming out saying truth is not truth. What a moral gymnast to twist and turn this way and that, contorting the truth. Remember, Giuliani said that Bill Clinton could be forced to answer questions whilst president, but now he says that Trump cannot. So he's only changed his mind because he's serving his paymaster. Giuliani claims that collusion is not a crime. Is he out of his mind? He's a distinguished jurist. He wrote RICO. RICO is all about collusion. The Racketeering, Influence, Corrupt Organizations Act. Someone else is committing a crime, and I assist them in some manner, then I'm committing that crime too. And it was a bit too broad, RICO, in my opinion. But anyway, it shut down a lot of mafia organizations. The Trump organization, more or less, is a mafia organization. There's nothing more racketeering influenced or no more corrupt organization than the Trump organization. There he is, flagrantly breaching the Emoluments Clause, still operating as businesses, foreign governments holding their functions in Trump hotels in order to curry favor with Trump, who makes no distinction between public and private, who practices nepotism, who appoints his utterly unqualified close blood relatives and son-in-law to senior positions. Nothing wrong with appointing blood relatives or son-in-law as such, so long as they were reasonably well qualified, did a decent job. But they don't. They do almost no job. Look how idle he is. Playing golf most of the time, more than most presidents, holding official meetings in Trump Towers and charging the taxpayers for it. So getting profit from the poorest to the richest, to a billionaire. So it is conspiracy. Let's not use the word collusion, it's conspiracy. If someone else is committing a crime and I conspire with them and I help them, then I'm also guilty of that crime, even if in a lesser degree. Aiding and abetting a crime is undoubtedly a crime. So do you see how it's shifted? First of all, that there was no meeting, or the meeting was about adoption, and then there was no collusion and Trump didn't know about it, and they've had to give ground and give ground. It keeps changing. They can't get their story straight. Lie after lie has been proven. So who would be myopic enough to believe a word Trump says? You have to assume he's lying unless you can actually prove otherwise. So he's such an idiot to tell these provable lies, but sometimes blurt out the truth when that undermines his position, saying, yeah, I sacked James Comey to do the investigation, nothing else. So why would they insist collusion is not a crime if there was no collusion? Because they know that there was collusion. But there are some bright spots on the horizon for the Trump administration, and what a fool he is not to focus on that, to cause all this heat and noise, diverting attention from their few successes. The economy is growing quite steadily. These massive tax cuts for the super rich, certainly in the short term, are paying economic dividends. Now, I think it will be a disaster in the medium to long term, but I've never studied economics, I could be wrong. What I know is true is Trump is very unwise not to be constantly harping on about economic growth or what he's going to do for farmers or how truck drivers are in short supply, so their salaries are going to go up. These are crucial constituencies for the Trump re-election campaign. But there we are. Trump lying and lying and lying. So I wonder what his tax affairs are. So Michael Cohen broke federal electoral law, and he says Trump directed him to do so. So Trump could be charged with that. Trump can pardon people from federal crimes, pardon himself probably. Can he pardon people from state crimes? No. If they can get him on state charges, that's it. Will he pardon Manafort? It's quite likely. So this obviously has nothing to do with justice, and I know he wouldn't be the first president to issue pardons which are unethical. Well, that's enough about Trump. I would dearly like to see him impeached and removed from office, but I don't think that it is probable. And then people keep going back to saying, oh, but Hillary Clinton did this and that, and yes, she did bad things. Hillary Clinton is not a president. She's not a candidate for president. I don't think she ever will be. She had a golden opportunity and she lost it. So stop diverting attention speaking about her. She's irrelevant, and she is sane enough to remain silent. It would be crazy to speak up and then distract attention from Trump, who'd like to change the subject to the wrongdoing of Hillary Clinton. Well, that's it. Certainly looks like Trump paid for someone else's abortion as well, paying a huge amount. So he's said he was pro-life recently, with exceptions, the exception being when it was politically convenient for him to do this. There he is having sex with prostitutes. I mean, Stephanie Clifford, why did she have sex with him? Did she want it for his body? I don't think so. Clearly it was for money. the payoff to keep silent, but also for the actual sex. And Christian fundamentalists say, oh, we forgive him. He hasn't admitted the truth. He hasn't repented. You'd only forgive people who are contrite. And yet you're so judgmental about other people's private lives. Personal morality matters. Certainly it does to Puritans, these Christian fundamentalists. And Trump is surely the antithesis of everything you stand for. Avarice, dishonesty, vanity, false prayer. There he is pretending to be religious just to curry votes with some of the naive evangelical Christians. That's enough for the moment.